Rash is the owner of this beautiful 1952 Caterpillar D6. Bob has spent many years restoring this, and I'll let you meet Bob here. We're going to talk about the dozer. Incredible work, Bob.
Yeah.
I seen a smile on your face. You look like a little. I seen a little boy in your eyes when you when you got off that dozer. Bob and I both work for the Caterpillar dealer here. Bob's retired now, but Bob came to me one day and said, "If you ever see an old D6, you'd be interested in finding one, right?"
I wanted one for the ranch, one that I could use. But when we got it home, we couldn't quite use it.
I remember you telling me that this was one of the first dozers when you were an apprentice.
Yeah.
You had to work on a D6 like this?
9U, this is an 8U. I worked on a 9U in pre-apprenticeship, going back to, I hate to say, 1980. And I rebuilt the engine in it. Same engine as this. About 10 years ago, drug it up to the house, and it went from an engine job into a complete machine rebuild, and everything has been rebuilt right from the bare frame up.
It's beautiful.
At work.
It sounds so good. So when I was in sales, one of my customers out in Revelstoke, BC, had this sitting in his property in a parking lot, and there was alder trees growing up through it. And I think the story was the previous owner learned to first run a dozer on this D6. And it was his dad's. Is that right, Bob? I think that's the story.
Bud McKenzie told me that his dad bought the machine in 1954, and that Bud himself, being the son of the owner, started running it when he was 15.
15 years old.
So it had been in the McKenzie family for all of its life, but the first 2 years, which was owned by CP Rail.
Oh, really?
Originally. And then I bought it from Bud with the understanding that he gets to come to my place and run it if and when I get it going.
So we got a hold of the previous owner after we finished it, and we're here today to take some photos of it and share it with the previous owner. And maybe while we're here, we'll walk around and look at a couple of things. Bob, what do you think?
Sure.
Teach some of the people about these old dozers. Now, when you're driving this thing and you're operating it, you got quite an assortment of levers. A new dozer today, you don't have anything there.
Yeah, you're pretty busy with these levers. This is the blade up and down.
Right here.
It has manual tilts out on the blade. This is forward, reverse. This is a 5-speed transmission.
Is it like an H pattern, like you shift like a car?
Yeah, just like a car.
Okay.
Same thing as a car.
Okay.
Other than that there's a forward, reverse separate lever.
Yeah.
Governor control, steering clutches, brakes.
So for the folks that don't know, governor control, it's idle. You're setting your idle speed, or your high idle, whatever you want.
Engine speed.
Engine speed control.
Yeah.
This is what right here.
Pedals, left and right.
Left and right brake pedals.
Yeah.
And this is clutch only then.
Steering clutch.
So you get your clutch control here, and then your brake.
Yeah.
One doesn't do both.
You got to do them together to make it steer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you could peel off a little bit of clutch if you wanted to, kind of just veer a little bit left or right. But if you want a hard turn, you got to put some brake on.
Yeah.
Or dig the corner of your blade in, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
And what about these two levers over here with the?
They're winch.
Oh, that's your winch control.
Yeah. Forward and reverse on the inside lever and neutral.
Okay.
And then the outside lever is brake.
Well, you run it like a pro.
Yeah.
You didn't have to stall it or anything. What's this little one down here?
That's park brake.
Really?
You can push that down and then set the pedal to set your park brake.
Oh, beautiful
and then
job.
on the far side, and one of the most important levers, the far lever there is the master clutch. And that's
that's your direct drive.
That's what puts your power into the powertrain from the engine.
So you're basically looking at here like a dry clutch, just like a car.
It's a wet master clutch, this one.
Oh, it's wet. Okay. But that's your main engine to transmission, engine to powertrain disconnect.
And it drives the winch too.
So you got a clutch in the center here underneath, and then you got a steering clutch on each. So you really have 3 clutches.
Yes.
And that's a wet clutch, and these are same?
They're dry.
Oh, these are dry.
Yeah, these old Sweeties are dry steering clutches.
Okay. And what people may not know is this is a gas, we call it a pup motor. It's this 2-cylinder gasoline engine. And in the beginning, when Bob fired it up, you heard it. It sounded almost like a high RPM, almost like a 2-stroke airplane. It reminded me of. And you get that warming up the pre-intake to the air into the engine, and then you engage a clutch, and that pup motor grabs the diesel flywheel and kind of turns it over.
There's a clutch to connect the pup motor to the diesel, to crank the diesel over.
It started fantastic. No problem.
And then we should go around the other side, Keith. There's a
So-
few more.
This thing right here. This is for
These are-
adjusting. You twist that and you can set the angle of your blade. So that's your
that's-
curl, sort of,
Your
right?
tilts.
Yeah.
If you think of hydraulic tilts on a dozer, this is manual tilts.
And there's threaded, big threaded rod in behind here.
Threaded rods.
And what you're doing is you're curling the blade forward like this,
You're just extending or shortening
Yeah.
the rod.
the top of it.
Yeah.
That basically just for the amount of cut you're
Yeah.
taking. Is that right? Or how the material rolls in the
You can
blade?
dig it in 11 or 12 inches either side.
That's beautiful. So it's a 6-volt pup motor on there. It's got a generator. Just like the old cars I have. Same idea. 6-volt system.
So there's a couple of things here interesting too. This is the decompression for the diesel engine.
Oh, okay.
When you see the diesel cranking but nothing happening out the chimney,
Yeah.
that's because the fuel's not on. Sorry, the fuel may be on, but you don't have any compression because,
Right. Are you opening like the valves?
yeah, so you're opening the,
Exhaust valve?
to think back now, you're opening the intake valves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's magneto for the gas pup motor.
Yeah. And then this here is the clutch to engage the pup into the diesel.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's this one?
That's the governor lever, just another.
Oh, so
Location.
that's tied to the other governor controller? So when you're out here trying to start it, you're adjusting it
You
here.
can run it from here, the governor, or up there on the operator's platform.
And this is your main clutch here you're talking about here.
Yeah, that's the master clutch.
This belt. What's that doing?
So that belt is cranking over the pup motor from the starter. This is the electric starter for the pup motor.
So you're actually turning this pulley,
Yeah,
and that's actually down and what's forcing the...
yeah.
Really? And that's the flywheel for the pup motor?
Yep. And if the electric starter is not working, you can put a pull cord on this.
Bet you that's rough.
Yeah, they start pretty good.
So your actually starter is not engaged to the flywheel. It's just the belt is going to
belt.
to a pulley, and that's what's cranking it over. Interesting.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you got a gasoline tank under here,
Yeah.
and that's your little filler on the top there.
Yeah, that's the gas tank.
And then when you're running the pup motor, the hot exhaust gases are going inside the intake manifold and heating it up, preheating it, and exhausting out the front there. Does a little exhaust stack, and then
Yep.
when you fire the big motor up.
Yeah, so it's preheating the diesel while you're cranking it over.
And Bob, you were saying you went through every bolt, every nut, everything. Everything's been rebuilt on this dozer.
Right to the barest of parts.
And you put all new parts in the engine.
New parts throughout.
Yeah.
All the wearing items were pretty much all replaced. Bearing seals.
It's
all that type of
fantastic,
thing.
Bob. And you can use this around the ranch. You got the winch. You can skid some logs if you need to. Whatever you want to do. Build some roads.
Yeah, it's probably the perfect ranch machine.